The summary of my research into text entry into computer systems as the state is right now. I dwelled quite deep into this subject, and it's become sort of an obsession of mine. What you see in front of you is one of the first user phase into this is why perhaps one of the first iterations of a modern computer user interface as you've seen it, and as it's intended, as you can see, is that the left hand is using this chorded keyboard here, which means he can press different chords as you would on a guitar, for example, hence chorded. And by pressing these 5 keys in different combinations, you can get more or less 32 combinations. Combined with use of the mouse, you can get more, because you can see maybe there are 3, maybe 4 buttons over here, which is quite a relaxing posture, as every FPS gamer would have it. I see a lot of people who have dwelled really deep into the sphere of computer programming and whatnot, have like an obsession with getting away from this moving back and forth, from moving the right hand from the mouse and to the keyboard. So most of the attention has been focused upon removing the use of the mouse, and this is something that I'm guilty of. I really hate having to move the hand away, but perhaps there is a different solution. So I've thought quite a bit about this, and I've come up with 4 alternate methods for replacing the user interfaces as we know them. So I managed to rather playfully package them into a game, because I know that people online have a rather short attention span, and this is about to get their attention. Also because if you remember starting to typing, perhaps you were using like some software like this to practice typing with 10 fingers. For most of you, I suppose this was quite a while ago, so maybe it's not that fresh in your memory, but this is basically one of those games. So the first method I'm implementing, and this is like a reference. This is what you would see on most like entertainment system or virtual keyboards that's on screen or whatever. It's basically the same keyboard you would have physically, but on screen instead. What's the problem with this though? Let's say currently the cursor is at C, so imagine you're playing a PlayStation game or whatever. Then if you want to go to I, because that's what your task is at the moment, then you have to go up 1, 2, and to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 7 in total, which is a bit annoying. Thinking about this is almost out of like a computer scientist terminology, a linear search, which is quite inefficient. What speeds this up is a bit is that the seemingly incoherent and random positioning of the letters is something that you're very used to. So, well, this works kind of good on something you're familiar with. What if you're like a modern person who is like internationally minded? Let's say we switch to typing Greek instead. So this would be the Iliads by Homer with the same keyboard. All of a sudden it doesn't seem so nice, and notice that I've omitted having lowercase and uppercase letters here for simplicity. Now I happen to be quite used to this because I've been playing around quite a lot and beta testing it and so forth. The implementation is not perfect as of yet, but hey, it's open source software, you're free to improve upon it and so forth. Also, I have to add that I'm very interested in in any form of feedback you can have, because at this point I have a thousand of ideas, and the trick right now would be to get feedback from you, so I know how to continue the research, like into venues that people actually are interested in. So maybe if this like strikes a chord with you, no pun intended, don't be hesitant to contact me and give me input, because I'm doing this for you guys. I mean, it's more fun if it's used. And out of curiosity, I simply want to know is this the optimal keyboard layout or not. Maybe it is. In that case, yeah, I'll do something else with my time instead. Yeah, this is the competition, the first competitor, and let's see. We pit it in a fight against two newcomers. So we'll start out with the first iteration of my personal of ideas that are my own, that I've come up with. So first we have one that uses boxes that are boxes within boxes, so it goes like recursively. So we have 9 keys here, 9 boxes, and you don't see them, but if I press Q, I get the first box, W the next one, E for the next one, A for the next, and S, and so forth. You can add more keys here. So if I want to press an I press Q for the first one, and then all of a sudden E corresponds to Q, T to W, A to E, and so forth. So I is S. So now I want to press an H, which would leave me put in the Q box, and third row, H, and then yeah, Q, E, and so forth. I think if you go to the link down below and start playing for a while, you will pick it up fairly simply, I think. We have some nice mathematical advantages from this for the mathematically inclined of you, which would be, first of all, having 9 keys sorted like this. You will see for each key press that you add, you will multiply it with 9. So in 2 key presses we can easily access 81 keys, which is well above what the chorded keyboard in the first picture achieved with 5 keys. With 12 you would have 144 in the second layer, and so forth. And also you could also imagine that you have deeper layers. So here you might have a square that dwells into the 3rd level, and so forth. So you can easily have symbols in the order of hundreds without too much of a hassle. And since it's sorted by frequency, so these would be the 4 most popular keys. All in all, this would be maybe 60 or 70% of the probability of any of these keys appearing in standard English text would be around 70% or something. So mostly you start out with Q or W. So most of the time you don't have to look, because you learn the most probable ones. More on this later. Basically it's about power law distributions and stuff like that for those who are into that kind of thing, which is quite useful to know, like when you're dealing with things like this. And also I'm trying to work this against like another sets of characters which are more difficult tasks to tackle, namely writing in Chinese and so forth. There is an unreleased level where you play Dao De Ching by Lao Tzu. Sorry for my outrageous pronunciation. Goes for English as well, really. So yeah, it works something like this. You can see that my score is not very good now. So because I'm talking at the same time. But yeah, the thing is, bear in mind here that it takes a while to learn to type like with an ordinary keyboard as well. And what you avoid here is you don't have to look down at the keys all the time, and you quite quickly learn how to move them around. So basically that bit. I thought I quickly step over to simply the music in this game makes it a bit addictive. Really, it's the best part of it, and I'm not the artist behind it. So look down below for links to the music. It's really good. Those should have the credit that they deserve. Night Lore and Telematics is really good synthwave. There was. Yeah, so R. There's R. Yeah, so I find that this is something you. Also, another use case would be like to use international settings, because no matter how good you are typing on an English keyboard, switch to a Greek keyboard, and oh, the wrong one, of course. Sorry about that. Want the quad, of course. My hard drive spins up like crazy. So let's see. Then it would be look something like this. It's a tricky one, and yeah, there are some hints given by the probability. Instead of reordering the keys, right, out of statistical level, because I want to keep some of that muscle memory aspect intact. Instead, I give hints with colors. Let's see. It's hard to. I got it. And this word I like, because it's so simple when you've tried it for some times. I find that this works quite well with a good use case for this. Obviously it's slower than writing, like if you're used to it, but mathematical keys, really good text editing, LaTeX and so forth. Check the link down below and maybe you can find it from there. If you're into discussion about this, please get in touch. For the next one, we'll have some more theory, right? So this is statistics from taken from Wikipedia. Also linked down below if you want more on this information. These are the most frequent letters, basically. I think this goes more or less for all English text, that you have E, T, A and O. This one represents basically 40% of, like, the probability of any of these four appearing is 40%, which means that you can use a shorter string of text that you input to select these keys than these ones. So all this would be the next 8 most frequent. So this all 12 keys in total is 80%. So imagine if we can type this with either 1 or 2 keystrokes. It's not too bad, because it's like Z might be harder to find, but then again it's not even in the probability of a Z appearing is not even 1%. So this is the theory behind it. Also, this is the mathematical reasoning behind compression algorithms such as Huffman trees and so forth. So whenever you're zipping a file, you're doing this. And on standard English text, you get really good ratios on that one. So we'll do it in English for simplicity, and so that we retain the same keys. So the 4 most probable, you select them just as if you're playing a FPS video game with W, A, S, and D. So W, A, S, and D, right? If you want to go to the next branch and select these, you press Q to go to the left, and then you have D, A, oh, sorry, S to go down, and so forth. So I would be to the left and up. So there we go. H to the left and down. A is so probable, so it's simply down. V is a bit more, takes a longer time. You memorize like the closest one quite quickly. That's the thing, because yeah, we're dealing with power law distributions here, which is quite helpful for anyone who has like some basic knowledge into mathematical properties of things like that. So yeah, this would basically be it. And here I find that the highlighting it works quite okay. It gives decent hints. Currently it's a bit of a cheating, but I simply haven't had the time or resources to implement something that's up to par to maybe Swift key or anything like that, because it takes a lot of computing power to get like the statistical analysis necessary. Also, it's like it should be on a person to person and even on an application level. Let's say if you're writing, I don't know, if you're programming something, you have a certain like frequency profile for the text that you're typing, so it would differ. And if this is dynamic, then I think you could get fairly good results with this. And note that I don't have like word prediction yet, as you would like on a keyboard, and still, I mean, it's not too bad as soon as you get into it. So this would be it, and I'm not sure if this is it really, but I'm just throwing it out there and see if I can get some feedback, and if there's someone who can really break the record on this one. And yeah, you could be best in the world on this game in particular if you want. So yeah, you learn a lot about letter frequencies from typing this. And some about spelling as well, it seems. Yeah, so that bit. The fourth and final version, basically I put it in just as a reference, because I wanted to have something to compare with for scientific rigor, so to speak, and also to demonstrate the principle of having linear search, which was what bugged me with the original. So here you have like it's like a menu basically. So imagine that you're trying to find like a specific formula, a specific sign in Word or some menu system, I don't know. Then you have to scroll down, worst case like 40 signs or whatever. So it was meant as like a baseline test, but then it dawned upon me that what if I add another one? I still have like only 3 keys, so it's 3 keys or so behind the other structure. So to be fair, I added a second list here to the right, which is the most probable keys. And lo and behold, it gives kind of good results when it comes to giving good predictions, as you'll see. I don't have to step that far down, much less than basically I can write quite quickly with this one. So it's unexpectedly good, really. It's interesting to find results like this, but please try it out. And also, I'm all about like cooperation and so forth. And at this point, I have so many ideas, and I want to get feedback, as much feedback as I possibly can from anyone who might be interested. So please write a comment or whatever. Go to my website and subscribe your email address, or try to get in touch with me in any way that you possibly can. And I'm really eager to have a discussion on what your needs and specifically might be. Yeah, so that'd be it. Thank you for watching.